You are still listening to The Diary Room on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. You just heard a couple moments ago myself, Emol, and my co-host, Chris, draft our BB 27 picks. And the version of us you're hearing right now has already seen the premiere night episode, and we're still soaking it all in,
Still processing.
still processing what happened, and we have a whole 90-minute episode to discuss now. I wish we had live feeds to discuss at this point, but alas, that's for after the Sunday episode. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Little bit. Let's jump into these house guests. It's very
Woo!
funny. Very funny. We spent if you are a YouTube viewer of our show, you know that we talked about these house guests a lot for a very long time. Almost 4 hours, in fact. Despite thinking, oh, let's just go through a question of theirs. Let's just get a really quick first impression of them. We literally were on a call for 4.5 hours.
Great yap.
The great
That was a
yap.
great yap about we went through every single house guest. Oh my gosh. Now we then, but now it's premiere time.
Premiere time.
In pre-
And I'm we spent all that time and I'm like, yeah, I know these house guests backwards and forwards. And then we saw their intros and I was like, wait a second. These people seem a little different than I
they did
perceived.
seem a little different than I perceived, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Just a little more sanitized.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way for me. That's how I kind of saw it, especially like Keanu.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my guy right there, of course, but
Yes.
like they made him look a lot less crazy than he was made to be. I don't, why did they put his occupation as DM if you
Yeah.
were just gonna like make that like a little small segment in his intro? It's like, oh yeah, I'm a personal trainer and I'm a nerd. I like D&D. Voice.
I I think it was just one of those things they're trying to spice it up. They're trying to be like, "Ooh, we've never had this before." And then they tried to really hone in on that before. I still am not quite sure if all the house guests knew what they would be listed as going in. Like, could someone just be in the house all summer and be like, "Oh yeah, like totally that lower third said personal trainer." And then he goes home
Exactly.
and watches, he's like, "What? Okay, like I guess I am, like that's what I do." um I was even thinking that, like, obviously that's a bit with Vince because Vince has done previous jobs before, like sure he's currently unemployed, but it'd be
Yeah.
like freelance photographer, which also still means unemployed. That's a self dig, by the way, not at other photographers.
Say that.
I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. I'm just a little sleepy today and self-deprecating. So I think even something silly like Jimmy kept referring to himself as a strategic consultant, and he was listed as an AI consultant, and it's just really because of last season, and I think secretly aligned with Ainsley, who please please don't bring her back. Please don't bring her back.
But please
However,
bring Janky back.
bring back Jakey. I love Jakey, but not don't lock them in the backyard. I feel like these people could take it though.
Especially
Fine.
Adrian,
Hmm?
because Adrian likes to lock himself in rooms.
That's so true. But has he locked himself out of rooms? Is the question.
You're so right.
Speaking of Adrian, though, what was great about him, I thought it was funny that he got that edit of blah blah blah
Oh,
blah 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 blah. And they just get,
happening.
and they just like like dissolved in his intro. We saw his wall comp that he built at home
Yes.
with someone spraying him with water
Oh,
to to simulate the competition. Um,
accurate.
I thought it was funny. What did you think of that?
I mean, if you're gonna prepare for it, like you might as well go all the way. Like he was going
Hmm.
for maximum accuracy. He definitely got it. I'm sure it was, I mean, it might even be more intense than the rain that they put over there, but
Maybe he over prepared, and that would be the best thing for him.
that
I have to say from his intro, I thought he was a little bit like funnier than I thought from the original interview. I think as much as it's a like it's not a bit, but he's also just playing his I think he's playing his genuine self up as a character. And I think he was the very first person, whatever, and I'm like, I think just to go base off of those intro interviews, it just showed that like it was super unpolished. It was people coming up with answers on the fly, and they weren't helping them with editing those diary room segments. All the errors and flaws were in there. He was the one where like midway through he kind of had like a little change of pace too. Like he was like going hard. He was at like 100%, and then he was just kind of like mellowed out. I feel I liked the intro package a bit more for Adrian. I'm like, oh, he's fun. He's fun. We're all like doubting him
yeah, we
so
were like
much.
down, like talking down on him so much, and it was like I, they made him a lot more bearable in his intro.
Hmm.
I enjoy that because I can't say the same about someone like Morgan.
Yeah, what did you think about Morgan?
Uh,
I know.
I really, really wanted to like her. Like she just seems like chill. Well,
Hmm.
that's the thing. I thought she would be chill.
Yeah.
She is not, unfortunately. She is the opposite of chill, and I don't know. The wavelengths aren't wavelengthing with me. But
Hmm.
I wouldn't really say that I actively dislike her.
Yeah.
Find her a little distasteful.
I
Uh,
I just remember her interview being pretty good. Like
yeah, it wasn't that bad. I
she
would,
was one of the few where I'm like, oh yeah, like I think she kind of had more of an idea of what she was going to say, and then the intro package didn't live up to that standard. And
yeah.
I don't even like remember it that much, but I do remember they were the funniest thing about I mean any of this, and you really can't do anything about it though, is like they just kind of enter the house guest homes and they're like, now do the thing that you do. It's like,
It's so
oh, just
awkward every year, I
yeah,
swear.
sit in front of your computer with a controller and be like, yes, game on, you know? And like I get like you can't really show maybe you can't really do anything with like actual games that she plays
But
because of
like
copyright,
they did show a game,
but
and like
yeah,
I was confused by that. I was like, so like, did they pay EA for the footage,
right?
or
I
is it like
don't
able to be shown, or like I don't know how those copyright law work, but
I don't know, but it was
definitely
so
had to keep that.
like sit here and pretend you're playing. I'm trying to think if there was another one that was really awkward. It's funny,
Um,
I saw like behind the scenes on from BB26 Rubina posted some like footage someone in her house shot of her like talking to the camera. I'm like, that is so funny. It's just like they're in your home.
in
Do
your,
the thing you do.
I think
um,
it's so like. Do you think those conversations that they just like have sitting down with like family and or friends like is that script? did.
It is so,
Like,
if
there's
not
no
perfectly
way.
scripted, completely prompted. Okay, you two sit here now. One of them was, what was funny to me was Ashley's, where she's like, I'm an attorney. Look at me, take notes, and with some other mysterious being. And then she was with someone else in the city with all these shopping bags.
Yeah.
And they were just like, they were really like, they just looked like old gift bags that someone kept from like the holidays, and they were a little crumpled up, and I think they were like empty. And they like put them on the whatever bench that they're sitting on. They're like, now talk about Big Brother and how you can't believe that you're gonna be on the show, and that was it. The bags were a star for me. I hope they got compensation for being actors in this bit. It's totally like sit down and reflect.
Yeah.
Go.
Like when Catherine was like sitting at the table with her friends. It was like there's no way that is a non-scripted conversation.
Oh no.
It was just like sit down at the table and talk about the show. Talk
Hmm.
about what you want your friend to do on the show.
But even the intro, she was the one, the waitress, where it's like, "What can I get for you?" Or it was like, "Oh, I'll be right back with your order." It's like, okay.
Mhm.
I felt like maybe also because we did such analysis of their preseason interviews, I'm just not convinced. Like these people are not actors. And their friends and family also not actors. Which is why I guess I remember someone like Adrian the most, where it's like there was no acting. This was just purely Big Brother, like I'm gonna show you the wall comp I built, and then his family's just like, I'm gonna spray you with water. And that was the vibe, and
No,
I
but
think
like
it
he
was
had the best
genuine.
fun. Yeah, no,
Yes.
exactly.
I feel like I kind of remember in Ava's, like she did the whole aura painting thing, which I
Oh, they
guess
had the effect.
with the effects was so fun. It's like they had to sit her down and say, your aura, it feels very purple. And then there was purple around the person. And like, whoa, we got it now.
Yeah.
Um, and there was a bit I was trying to determine if her like what did she do? She like fell or she like tripped or something, and it's like, is this quirkiness cringe or camp? And I don't know. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fine. I feel like they kind of played into who she is, where it's like, oh, we'll show like the mistakes, but was it like make a mistake, Ava? This is your personality. Do a little trip, and then we'll show it. I don't really know for sure, but but that happened. Um, Let me think of, did any other intro package stand out to you?
Um, I don't know. Vince didn't say. I remember he said something really funny where it was like all of these house guests. I think it was like after they walked in, but like he was like all these house guests can talk about all their accomplishments and their nice careers, but none of them can talk about how they live with their parents.
He had some really fun one-liners. That's the guy to have those one-liners. I thought
No,
he was
exactly.
funny.
He's like this year's Joseph if he wasn't a freak.
Well, we don't know that yet.
We don't
Maybe
know
it's
that.
in a
That
good way
exactly. They'll have to know for sure, and we have to give it time.
to find out if he's a freak. I did like the whole, like he delivered packages to the lot and now he's in the house. I'm like, oh, like redemption arc moment. I thought that was pretty cool. I think he's funny. I don't normally like mustaches, but I'm like, okay, mustache man. He played into it. He did the little curl like twice in his intro. Like, okay, fine. That's the character. Um, Riley.
Riley's his family. I love Southern accent. It's
It
just
was
so funny.
it was great. I literally I sat there. I was live tweeting or however you refer to it now, and I just went, Riley is tatted, all caps. I didn't realize that he's so tatted. I was like, wow. Like in the intro, buttoned up shirt. Like, oh, he hid everything. And then it is like shirt unbuttoned on the top and his the sleeve up full of tats. I was like, wow. That I just didn't expect that. Points for tattoos on on Riley, all tatted
Wow.
up. I liked seeing Will's like entire family. Clifton, Will, I guess we're kind of making
Captain
that
Will.
move. Captain Will, if you
Captain Will.
will. Saw the whole fam,
Oh, he had
and I kind of
5 kids.
expected that. I was hoping. He said he had like what, like 5 kids,
5 kids, 9
9.
grandkids.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure.
Um,
He's got a whole army, bruh.
a whole army, Captain Will's army.
His army. His squadron.
um,
So much.
Thinking, I don't even remember as many details from Zay, but I do remember being glad that I saw a little bit more of him.
That was what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I think I said too in our preseason draft that like I kept saying he was the me character that you just kind of like picked up and plopped into
Yeah.
Big
But
Brother.
like he still is though.
He still is, but we
I think
saw
he's
more
a
of
little
him.
better. Yeah. His intro was just like it was just solid. There was more I there was more Zay, more to
Yeah.
work with.
Was he the one where he's like, I know mathematics, and they show like math symbol
That
or something like
no,
that?
but he was talking about how he played chess and I thought that was cool.
Mm.
I wonder if he is ranked at all. Maybe he's like really good and he's a strategist.
Maybe bro is so goated and we don't
Was
even know
goated.
it.
We don't know. I
Uh,
mean, like, I don't know. If you're good, if you're good at chess, you're smart. If you're good at chess, you're smart.
I
I
can't
don't make,
take that away from him.
and I'm terrible at chess.
I have to say I've never even attempted chess before, to be so honest.
My best.
Um, and so I'm gonna think oh so deeply about some of the other intros, but we're just getting started. This is just the beginning of our premiere episode stuff.
Quality.
But I'm so sleepy. Let's take a little break, Chris. Let's do that. Oh, we're so back. We're so back. You are still listening to
Mhm.
90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is the Diary
The
Room,
diary room.
Big
What?
Brother commentary show. I'm
But
still Emol, and you are still
I'm still Chris. Just Chris.
just Chris. Always Chris. Never
Still,
been nothing but Chris. I don't
but
remember.
Chris. Yeah, something like that
Something like that.
all the time, every
And
time.
and we are talking about the Big Brother 27 premiere.
What?
We are yapping all about the house guest intro packages, the vibes on the show, and how they are very different from the preseason interviews that we got. Um, Air conditioned noises in the diary room and all their errors were kept in.
I forgot about that actually, and I had thoughts because why was the diary room so mysterious? I don't know what word to use for
But
it.
like in a bad way.
Yeah, and it looked like there was some sinister things going on in there, like the
hmm
like super dark, and you like what
Someone
going
mentioned
on there?
online, like, oh, you could tell which one's the upstairs and the downstairs. I said, what? Like, did they make two diary rooms for the sake of like pre-production? Because I had no idea what they were talking about. I just know that it looks like someone wanted the diary room to have books in the background, and so they printed it on a sheet, and then they just put the sheet a foot behind the house guest's head. They put a really harsh light on all of their
Uh,
foreheads, and they used
it was
an
dark.
iPhone for audio and said, "Go have fun."
And
And
but, like, why was it so dark as well?
I it looked more to me like an error than a style choice, which I maybe I'm just ripping them apart. I was so confused because I mean, not for nothing, if you are watching us, we have our silly backgrounds from the BB26 diary room where it was just I mean the typical like super blue kind of bright. There's like a light that must have been on the floor like right behind the couch. It just was bright. It looked not huge but like appropriately sized room. I guess this is like it's not fully blue, so maybe it's just different. I just feel like it was wrong. They could have if they wanted like books in the background and everything, they could have just put books there. Like they put so much effort into the rest of the house. They could have just done like another bookshelf. It's just like a sheet. Unless that's the point, and at some point like they'll switch it up. Like they'll unlock something new, but I don't know if it's something
I
that
don't think
they
that's gonna
plan.
happen.
No.
I'm sure that they're just gonna like keep it that way. Maybe fix
Yeah.
the lighting. Maybe hopefully fix the audio. They might just be in the early stages and they're
Mhm.
they're
I'm
still
I think audio wise, like that was just exclusive to the pre-production interviews. I think I don't know. Did they not have something set up? There's a good chance that like there could be people on production or like some kind of intern that are like watching us and they're like because something went really wrong and we have no clue and we're just here like meh, meh, meh. Like this is terrible. I'm going to believe, you know, as a film TV-esque person
yeah.
myself that like something must have gone awry.
They're
And however, the like visual of it is clearly intentional. That's staying. Why? They spent so much time on the decorating the house. I mean, we saw the house guest reactions too. We saw audience reactions. It is the best Big Brother house. Like amongst the fans, like everyone seems to be like they seem to be getting really great feedback from it. My
yeah.
family, we were shook. We're like, this is the coolest that we've ever seen the house. They like went all out for the whole house, and then they go in the die. Chris, in a year from now, our background on YouTube is going to be that background. And we're just gonna be like, oh no, we're stuck with this.
Stuck in the dark and mysterious diary now.
So maybe that gives off the vibe of mystery, but I think it just wasn't intentional how mysteriously unfortunate it looks at this moment.
Yeah, but I'm sure that they're working on it, and I don't, I can't see any. If people complain, they'll probably notice. That
Yeah,
moral of the story.
that's true. I feel like they're much more connected with their audience in that way, where I mean, BB Twitter is just a thing, whether you like it or not, and I'm sure there's somebody who's like, what's let me see like what's the temperature over there and the temperature says this is amazing, fix this one thing please, please, and like okay, so I guess we'll see for future episodes. But on the intro packages, are there any other intros to go over? Are you feeling any different about any of the house guests from that versus their preseason mystery diary room interviews.
Not really.
Yeah,
More more of the same. If anything, they all kind of made them better.
yeah.
I think everyone was improved. M-
Mm-hmm.
Like except for the exception of a few that I'm just not remembering off the top of my head right now. But like, I don't know. There was no particularly boring people in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone who we did think was had like some kind of character flaw, whether if being boring is a character flaw, then I think they kind of fixed that as much as they could with the what's it called? The intros. Um, but yeah, no, I feel good all around. And I mean, so excited to see how these guys socially experiment.
True, true. No, that's so true for the last couple ones that we haven't mentioned. Unfortunately, I just don't remember them too much. And so Womp, I
No, exactly.
suppose. But you're right. It was a better polished version of who these people are, or at least the version of the people that production would like us to see. So I think that was it was fine. It was whatever. And yeah, I don't really necessarily think worse of anyone because of that, except for the one that we said was just kind of like, hmm, with Morgan, which I guess we'll get into later. But still at the intro of the premiere episode, something that has only got to the surface of my brain within the last couple years is people documenting the entry order into the Big Brother house. It's this show is incredible because the order in which you enter the house matters. And so there
Agree.
is the first group of four with Zach, Amy, Adrian, and Kelly. The most important part of this being the infamous curse that I guess was brought to TV. Like I don't know if this was mentioned like on the episodes until last season when
Yeah, last season
Tucker
about it.
he was like, I'm gonna break the curse, the first house guest in curse, and what would that be, you may ask? I'm really sure it is 100% curse. Is it like this has been like always
Nobody.
happen?
Well, that's what Tucker wanted to do.
Yeah. No
Tucker
one.
wanted to win. He wanted to be the first person who was first in
Mm-hmm.
to, uh, to
So
win.
in 26 complete seasons, the first person to enter the house in that season has yet to win Big Brother. And
Not,
so,
not looking too good for Zach.
no, it's not.
Not
And
not exactly zero, but I don't know. He seems like a very plain guy. He
just a
probably
dude.
friends, but he is just a guy at the end of the day. He has no special like I'm like like no, I'm not trashing on Zach. He's he seems like a cool dude. Seems
Mm.
seems like a nice guy. But I don't know.
With
He
being the first one in, we have like nothing else. If nothing else to go off of, I literally tweeted R.I.P. Zach BB27 because
Right.
the second he's the first person to walk in, it's so over. It doesn't matter if he was the coolest guy in the world.
That's true. Doesn't matter who he was.
No, but I did know that Adrian would not be caught dead being the first person to get into that house. There was no way that he was going to do that.
All of it.
Because he knows too much, but even at the most basic of things, you don't want to be the first person in. Last season, I know Tucker made it a point to be the first one, but I believe the first couple, they kind of just like stood around the door like, no, after you, and it was like kind of proved that they knew the game. Zach just like took it. He was like, okay, just kind of went in.
Might have not.
Um, I
Maybe.
don't know if he knows.
Does he know?
Again, last year Tucker made it a point
Yeah.
to say this is something that I want to do. I want to break this curse. He did not. And Zach didn't mention anything of that, so either he didn't know
I'm
or
willing that he doesn't know.
it probably doesn't know, but Adrian sure does.
Yeah, well, because it's only for crazy people who know way too much about the show.
Even though it did make air, it did make TV last year. It is something that is easy to forget. Truthfully, the fun thing about me is yes, I know about the first person in Curse, but I don't know anything else. I don't know if there's like a sweet spot.
There's like a bunch. Didn't we looked over the chart and stuff last year
Mm-hmm.
when there was like statistics and stuff like that. I forget. There was another entry position that was also cursed.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember which one it was, but I
Yeah.
think it might be
Well,
something to look at.
for this information, I love and adore whoever runs Big Brother database on Instagram for all of our important entry info. They said that Chelsea last season was the first ever winner to enter fourth. And the only spots to have never won are first, seventh, and 10th, which means it's not just the first that's cursed. It is some others. So Chelsea entered fourth last year, and this year the fourth entry was Kelly. First seventh was Keanu, and 10th is Jimmy. And so apparently those are our cursed spots. The eighth spot has the most winners from BB1, 6, 14, and 21. And eighth to enter was Riley this season. So of course it's all, to be taken with
Speculation.
a grain of salt. But it would be really interesting in a couple months from now if we're looking at any of those names as the winner. It'll be either predicted from the beginning that they would win or that they would lose. But yeah, shout out to Big Brother Database because I don't know that. It's really impressive. I don't know those things.
Well, where else
Um,
do you get them from?
hmm?
You gotta find the statistics from somewhere to talk about the entry point of the house guests and how it affects their gameplay. Of course, that is totally valid and something that all Big Brother fans would pay attention to.
I know. Silly me. I should memorize the number. No, but it's fun and it's funny to me too that online I've seen a bit of talk about, I guess Love Island ended or ends this week, and there's a bunch of people like, what do I do now? And all these Big Brother people like, you should come to us. I'm like, imagine this is what you walked into. Have fun. The
Probably better.
wolves, we throw them we throw you into the wolves. Um and especially some, if this is your first impression of Big Brother, oh boy, this episode was really Big Brother. It was the epitome of it,
Yeah,
yet so weird and somewhat weirder than usual and so on brand at the same time. And I think that point really makes sense when we move into the next segment in my notes that says masked dude question mark. That is also known as the mastermind of the season. And so for this season, they kind of teased it before on socials. Unfortunately, I kind of wish that they didn't and that I didn't know that this was happening. But The house guests, they go into the living room. They're all listening to Julie saying the classic expect the unexpected, and then they turn off the lights on them and they scream, and they all kind of huddle in this one circle for some reason. And then the lights go back on. Julie's gone.
Oof.
Dun dun dun. I really appreciated this production moment where they had her shoe on the ground and then they had the caution tape in the reflection of the floor. I just need to give them their flowers with that. I was like, ooh, I see you. Can you bring that energy into the diary room, please? And thank you. And then we come back and the mastermind is on the screen, some masked bro with a red face, and it's just like, if you want Julie Chen back, you gotta work for it. You gotta find her.
Gotta find her.
And so in summary, then Julie calls that little phone at the front of the house, and important to note, then Lauren is the one who answers the phone and is like, it's Julie. And then I like how she holds the phone up to her ear, but there's no way that they didn't just play the audio through the house because everyone was reacting to this little phone and we're like, okay, that's just
Cannot hear that if it was a real phone.
not at all. And so Julie and the mastermind show that the house guests there's two different competitions. They intro two different comps for night one for now. And the way that they pick which competition they're a part of, they have to pick like a map,
Yeah.
and at random they're selected for these two comps. Kind of similar, but not of just like the first comp last season with the Ainsley comp when people voted yes or no to having Ainsley in the house. Where I remember like the very first thing we saw was Angela playing the game where they had to spin in circles and memorize the colors and whatever. This is kind of like their version of that they did this season. So the first competition that they do is that door competition where half the house they have to complete a puzzle to walk over a bridge over lava, oh so scary, wallpaper, and they had to cross this bridge. And then there was a series of doors that they had to listen in and hear Julie talk about herself, and it was very funny to me that it's all about Julie's fit.
Yeah.
That was the comp. Just memorize the fit. And I'm laughing because it's kind of ridiculous. It's like, oh my God, I'm lost and I have this watch on my right wrist and whatever it was.
I got
And
lost with this watch on my wrist.
and that was the audio pieces. That's what it was. And
But
I
when,
laugh because it sounds ridiculous, but at the same time, I pretty much knew what was truth and which was a lie.
yeah, because they were, I mean, the jacket one, I wasn't like paying attention to her, but she was
Mm.
like, so cold in here. Thank God I brought my my jacket and
Like, no, you didn't, Julie. You can't fool me.
jacket. And the solution was just about her bracelets.
That was hilarious. But what was the audio piece? It's like,
Like
thank goodness I wore all my bracelets on one wrist for this
for this.
night. For the
Yeah.
what a night. I've got all my bracelets on a single wrist. What was interesting was literally just the outcome of it. I'm starting to develop um like I wonder if this dynamic is going to exist in the house where Adrian is the first one across of this half of house guests that are playing in this comp, and he starts listening in to all the doors, and there's no way that he could have hidden this, but I remember thinking, like, what would stop anyone from just starting to listen to the doors that Adrian passed up? Because if he heard the correct one, then he would have already won the game.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Zach thought that exact thing. He's like, what
It was a
if,
very smart play.
yeah, it was think smarter, not harder. Why would he go back and do the same things that someone else already listened to? And so I was very happy to see that and to see it work because there if Adrian got them wrong, then there goes Zach's guess.
Exactly. That's why I was saying it could be a bit risky.
Yeah, but high risk, high reward, and rewarded he was because the first award that he gets is opening the door, and Julie Chen is actually in the house. In the house. I was shook. I gasped. My family was like, hold up. She doesn't do that. And then I don't think Zach was expecting that. She gets up and immediately hugs her, which I thought was fantastic. You don't get to do that until you're evicted or the end of the season, or if you were on BB 22 or 23 and maybe 24, you had to stay 6 feet apart from her. So some people never got the chance to hug Julie, let alone multiple times. Um, then he emotes for a little bit next to Julie, who starts hosting from inside the house in the competition, and he's just doing all these kinds of faces. And I said, "Welcome, welcome to the house, Gen Z." I don't even know. I forgot how old he is, but he's a Gen Zer.
Yeah, we're like there at that point because what's her face? Lauren's like 22, right?
Yeah.
23 or 22. And
Oh,
what?
Zach's 27. Yeah, no, that's Gen Z. Um, he just and like flexes his muscles and whatever. And Julie's just there like introing the next competition and after the break and blah blah blah. And then she hobbles off the stage because she only has one shoe on, which they would have ruined the illusion otherwise. So that was pretty good. And then we move into the second competition of the night, where the remaining house guests have to play in the competition where they find there's this HOH relic, which I actually didn't mention before, kind of prompted all this, where it's this like box essentially with little gems on it and little key icons on it, and in the house it went missing, and the house guests couldn't see it go missing because it was dark, and I like that it just kind of like hid under the table.
Under the table?
And so they had to find this relic or a replica of it amongst many other replicas,
Yeah.
fakes, uh, deep fakes, if you will. And there were a ton of them all over this room, and half the house guests have to basically just wander a room for who knows how long this went on, and they had to guess which one was the exact version of the relic based on some hints around the room, like, oh, this color is on the top and this color is on the left or the right. This comp was weird. I don't know what you think.
I don't really, especially like random 2 second long like power up competitions. I don't really have qualms with them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially, I'd rather them be short and weird than long and drag
Mm-hmm.
something. I'm not gonna say trivial as a power up because obviously a power up is an important thing, but they should be smaller competitions. I think power ups should be given for like, yeah, give them out as a reward for doing stuff, but do they need to be tied to huge competitions every time? No, I think it was
Mm-hmm.
serviceable. It was a good setup for the actual HOH competition. It worked and it did its job, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think I have to agree. I just thought it was really funny when there was just a segment of people just wandering a space.
No, yeah. That's fair.
But I'm like some people were upset that the premiere was pre-recorded. I kind of just expected it to be pre-taped. I don't think it's been live in my memory. I think that competition would be super boring if we were watching it live. But because it was edited, it seemed fine. It was whatever. I liked the bit where I believe Keanu was the first person to lock in, or no, who was, all I know is that Kelly was the second person. And basically, if you got the answer wrong, they drop you through a floor. And I liked a little bit of suspense with that because I think I would have been scared of that too. But it was basically them wandering a room and then falling through a floor. And then in the end, Jimmy ends up winning the relic competition. And so we got a winner of that. We got the relic back in one room. We got Julie back in another, and everyone comes back together. And Julie reveals what these two house guests have won. She goes, Zach, you won $10,000. Jimmy, you have to choose four house guests to play HOH.
That's not fair.
What is this? What is this? And so we have to question again, did they learn or did they
No,
not learn?
they never learn. Especially every single first HOH is gonna be awkward and they're just never gonna be able to escape. So you might as well add something that makes it more interesting,
hmm
to be honest.
It is so like I think this was interesting. I liked that someone won and it's like, okay, choose people to play. Is that going to put a target on his back? How strategic is he? Does he put himself in the ring because he's selfless, or is it because he really wants the power? You
Yeah.
know? But then the other person just wins $10,000 is very strange. And yes, I will continue bringing up last season because I can and I will. But last season, Mackenzie and Quinn were the first two winners of like the equivalent comps of last year, where it was clear that one had a ton more power than the other if used correctly. And like one basically took over an entire week, and the other was like, I get myself off the block, lol. And it was not equal. You I do think though that Zach, this could either put a target on his back, like, oh dude, like you already won all that money, or people will like forget about it. I don't know.
I don't think people ever forget about power-ups, but
That's true.
it seems like it at some points because whether it just be like a dry week or something, like, well, I mean, during those weeks it'd probably be better to talk about it because those are when you're gonna use it. But like either way, it's still gonna put some sort of a target on his back.
But he doesn't even have like he won a comp, so he has that target on his back.
Yeah.
Like he beat all these other house guests, plus he gets money, but he doesn't even have
Like a gameplay.
anything in the sense of like even if he makes if so Jimmy could choose four house guests to play HOH is his prize. He could make some enemies, but he could also make some close allies by, oh, I chose you, or hey, remember when you said you were uncomfortable with that and I didn't make you do it. Zach doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have that opportunity to make waves in like either a good or a bad direction. So kind of poor Zach, but also good for him on the money, but also like game wise, that didn't help him at all. I think it just unless that there's gonna be some other person who says, hey, I see that you won that, let's align. That's
True.
the only good outcome of that.
It's not entirely impossible either.
Yeah.
I think
But
he's
I feel like it's not as solid as what Jimmy got. I personally think it would have been cool if both of them got to choose two people. and it was even in that way. But I don't want to take away $10,000 from Zach. And so Jimmy has to choose 4 houseguests to compete in the HOH competition. And I don't know what I would have done in that spot. I think I would have done the exact same thing that he did, actually, though, where he's like, hey, what are your feelings about this? And cue the segment where like 90% of the house guests are like, oh, no, I'm good. What? Like, yes, I get it, but what? In the last few seasons, needless to say, the first house guest, the first HOH has often flopped. It is the first person typically that makes a decision on behalf of the house and is then puts themselves in a weird spot week 2 where it's like, hey, you put up this person, you're the only person who's done things, really. And so that could put a big target on you second week. But I
Yeah.
feel like if you play it correctly, it's never a bad thing to have power. And so I also think that it kind of showed how some people know the game. Like, yeah, I know first HOH is not something I want. Or other people maybe don't know the game at all, so they're terrified of being like the first person to do something. I mean, in my life, I'm usually nervous to be the first person. Like, I'll let someone go ahead of me if I'm not so sure the way that something works. But I don't know. Like, how did you feel about that? Did you think more people were gonna go for it, or did you think, like, were did you expect that? Because I kind of expected people to say no too.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of always do because who wants, well, unless you're crazy like Tucker and just like want as much power as you can get off the bat. But I mean, I'm not surprised. It's not surprising because, I mean, like you said, the more power you have early when less people have it, the more people you're gonna have looking at you.
Hmm.
Well, for the most part, yeah, you do want to lay lower initially because you could just get singled out and just lose by, doesn't matter how tough you are, like if you can just lose.
Mm. I'm just glad for Jimmy that at some point we finally got the montage of people saying like, "Yeah, let me in," which really saved him, because he was put in a position to really upset people who said, "Yeah, no, I'm good," and then end up putting them in there anyway. That's a way to make a very quick enemy. So, good for Jimmy and good for the other people that said, "Yeah, put me in." And I think it's also pretty telling that Adrian, the self-proclaimed super genius of Big Brother, said like, "Yeah, put me in." I mean, not for nothing. He's waited how many years to be on the show? He's done how many wall comp Wednesdays, doing the comp in his house, to then show up and say like, "Nah, I'm good," to play a competition. So I was really glad to see that from him. Vince was really eager to be put in. Ashley sounded really down. And I think Zay was also like, yeah, if you need to, I'll do it. Which, okay, go off.
That's what he would say though, like
Yeah.
crazy.
And then, so Jimmy ends up going with the 3 that seemed the most eager in Vince, Ashley, and Adrian. And then he ultimately chooses himself. I don't I think it's kind of like I don't really want to upset anybody else, so let me just put myself in there. But at the same time, if I win, maybe I wouldn't hate that so much. He even said to Vince, they kind of had a deal where it's like, hey, if I kind of give you a look and I want it, like, do you want to like give it to me? Like, let me think about it. I, in the end, respect that choice because he didn't have to upset anybody else by putting him in. It was funny that there was not quite a nod that needed to happen because Jimmy didn't really come as close. And all three of the house guests that he chose to play said, "Hey, I'm not mad at you. If you choose me, I will actually keep you safe." So again, Jimmy had this opportunity to make deals with people quite simply because he is the first person in power. Zach is just on the sidelines, like, yeah, I got 10K. Woo! And it's not even like he could use that and say, "Oh, you get 5,000, pick another house guest that gets the other 5,000." There's nothing. It's just you want to comp.
And it's gonna get taxed.
Mm-hmm.
Takes it out from the game. I wonder
And
what his favorite house guest is gonna be.
hmm?
Literally just had a random thought about how I remember or how I'm thinking about who America's favorite house guest is gonna be. Just like from first impressions.
That you have a prediction?
Depending on how Keanu does,
Okay.
be him. Either him or
Interesting.
Vince is funny,
I do like Vince so far.
being funny.
And
I,
speaking of Vince, in our BB Blaster HOH competition,
terrible name for some reason, by the way.
you
Literally
said,
does not reflect the gameplay at all.
yeah, I don't know. I looked up the name of it and I looked at it and I kind of was questioning it. It
I
was
don't.
I
It's a
I
balancing game.
it was. And well, I guess because in the end, no, it doesn't even make I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. They balance things and like they had like the three levels of it where they had to balance this little
Looks like a bucket.
the buckets on this thing. And important to note, not just that Vince ended up being the winner of this competition, that Adrian was in second place in this competition, where he, I would say, like was 80% of the way, and then he had to balance like one last thing or two last things, and then it didn't work, and in the process of it not working, knocked pretty much everything else down. And he was not too far away from winning. I wrote Adrian comes in second twice in one night. Villain arc six
Villain arc.
question marks because this poor dude, super genius fan, really excited about this show,
Super fan.
when plays in two separate competitions on premiere night and comes in second place in both of them. That could destroy a man. And
Likely.
so I'm curious to see how Adrian bounces back from that.
Maybe he'll
Um,
lock in and win the next HOH.
Maybe. He'll
Yeah.
be so determined in the next comp. I would hate to see in like the veto, bro comes in second.
And he comes into
Pain.
AI Arena.
And I don't want that for him. I'm kind of I feel like on a personal level I'm like, "Aw, Adrian, like don't be down on yourself. You'll get him next time. Hopefully he will. I don't know." But Vince wins, pulls out this win. They have to keep their little buckets balanced for 10 seconds, and after the 10-second timer his stuff collapses. So that was a good call to be like 10 seconds only. And then and then Julie or whoever's like, "Oh, great, get out there now, everything's gonna explode." And then they show like a really wide shot of like a forest, and then the mastermind's lair explodes, and we go to commercial break. Which I thought was really funny.
I'm sure
Um,
the last of the mastermind, even though his house got exploded, we're gonna be seeing more of him.
this is so true. He will be returning to spread some evil upon the house.
Super villain.
But before we know that too, Julie's like, "Oh my God, thank you. Thank you for saving me and knowing that all my bracelets are in just one arm." There's this thing that I'm gonna tell you about. And Vince is chilling, I think, with Zach on like the little couch where the nominees go. They're like, you know this thing last season, the AI arena, and they're like, no, no, no. And then she's like, you know how we're gonna bring that back? They're like, no, no, as a permanent thing. Did she really say permanent?
I think that she, if she did, she probably meant it like in a different context.
I think it's just
But
it's at least
other,
for the season.
yeah,
They gotta see if it flops.
but I still stick by my theory about how the blockbuster name is a permanent name for it.
Yeah.
So that can continue to be used for future seasons. Because it just has like it has like the classic Big Brother name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I could see it just being a thing
Yeah.
just for the rest of time. Power to, by the way.
Yeah. Because it doesn't
Oh, but no
necessarily
complaints
match
from
the
me.
season.
Zero complaints from me.
I have to completely agree. It just seems like a very Big Brother name. It's not very hotel mystery. It's not specific to the season. It sounds like it's something that they want to keep up with. The house seemed a little bit shook. I would have been shook too. Like, oh yeah, no, that was left last season. No, wrong. It's back. I'm really excited to see it. I love that now we have Vince who's like, yes, I will play this comp. Now I'm the winner. Now I have to nominate three people. Let's see how that plays out. Hopefully, or perhaps like, will he or will he not keep that promise of keeping Jimmy safe? Will maybe the losers of the comp be up there? Maybe Zach will be right up there, like, yep, you won the money. I don't know what else to do. Other people didn't do things. You did a thing. Get up there.
Yeah,
But at the same time, do you give him that opportunity to come off with the veto and the BB blockbuster? So many questions, and that's why I'm so glad that it's back.
exactly. That's kind of how it has that's how it has to go every week.
Yeah.
You don't know for sure who's gonna be sitting there on Thursday night. And the only way to find out is gonna be literally an hour beforehand, right after the BB blockbuster. I was about to say AI Arena. Right after the blockbuster is over. But I mean, that's what made it so nice.
hmm
Um,
I'm excited to see how that plays out. I'm glad that it's back. I hope it lives up to the same standard that was created last season. And I'm very curious to see how our very first HOH Vince ends up, what he ends up doing. I wonder if he will put up two people and the mustache will put up the third. I think his mustache is his own house guest.
Theory.
Theory? Theory? Maybe there's a 17th house guest? Or
17th, 17th house guest, you say?
wait. Is there already one? Question mark?
Question mark.
And thus,
I had it dead on. Just want to go on.
mystery house guest
Mystery
revealed.
house guest revealed.
Oh my god, but also, we knew,
Really called it.
as fans speculated and as Chris detailed, that there were hints all over the house before the season premiered. We have a mystery person entering the house, and it was none other than BB legend Rachel Riley enters the house in dramatic and fantastic fashion from upstairs, dressed up, bright red dress matching the hair, coming down the staircase. Everyone loses their minds.
Everyone loses their.
Even the fans who knew there's no way it's not Rachel. I listened to Chris explain the keys to me online. Everyone said it has to be Rachel. Janelle tried to tell people she was like, "Oh, I haven't heard from her." And then Brendan was like running her socials like, "No, why do people think it's me?" We all knew, but it was the confirmation that we needed that Rachel is back in the game. She was on seasons 12 and 13. I heard that supposedly she was supposed to be on All Stars season 22, but she couldn't be because she was literally pregnant with child. And I'm surprised that stopped her. No, production would never
I'm
would
surprised
never.
having a child stopped you from playing the game.
Why didn't she time that better? Why didn't she think of that? But so she's back. She's so back. And we knew, and yet it is still super exciting. Like, I still lost my mind watching it because I needed to see it happen to believe it completely.
I was really curious to see if it actually was gonna be her.
Hmm.
I would have looked like a big fat idiot if I was wrong.
Well, I think I wouldn't have been surprised if they put a ton of hints in one direction to end up being completely different because they know what they're doing. But
Mhm.
I think they also knew what they were doing in giving so many hints that people got it. But it was interesting that I just heard speculation of I think it's Rachel before I saw any of the evidence for it. And then you bring up what was in the house and how there were hints in there already and there's math involved and I was just like, okay, I am convinced. I don't think it could be anybody else. If I wasn't deep like trying to figure that out for myself and obviously talking to all of our listeners about it, I would have just lost my mind. But I again have to say that my reaction wasn't so different, fully knowing it was going to be her, because seeing her, I was like bowing down, bowing down. I think it was Ava who said, not only is this a returning BB player, this is the BB player. I am so glad that I get to see an active season of Rachel Riley. Because for season
Yes,
13, when she returned, when could that have been? Like 20?
2011, because the date on the keys
Yes,
were in 2010, and she won the year after, so 2011.
I was 9. I
I
don't
would have
remember
been
that.
6.
And so at the Diary Room WMSC, we were but baby. And so I am so glad that I get to see her in action and naturally excited to see how the new house guests react to her being in the house. Like, obviously, we saw first reaction, but like on a daily basis of interacting with her, I feel like I would be in the house with a god. You know, what what would I do? And a handful of the house guests are actually my age and they have been watching for just about the same amount. Like I think Jimmy is a little older than me but watched like the same amount, where people are saying like this is Jimmy is Reagan of this season, which I thought was really funny. Like maybe they'll be enemies. I can't wait to see how that plays out. But then also I feel like there's kind of 50-50 on she returns. Do you recognize how powerful she is and align with her? Or do you recognize how powerful she is and go after her?
That's always what I feel like it's an important question whenever anyone comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it ultimately has to do with the chemistry of how well they get along with the new cast.
Mm,
I mean, yes, people are gonna gravitate towards her because she's Rachel. But
naturally.
if I were like someone like Adrian, self-proclaimed super fan, etc., etc., I would probably want to get rid of her.
Mm.
personally because it could throw a lot of it's like it's the one person everybody knows.
Yeah.
Everybody knows her game plan, stuff like that. And I think that just getting rid of it is probably worth better a lot more than dealing with it. Because then you got to
Hmm.
do it later eventually, and
Yeah.
it'd be much harder to do it later.
And then you're gonna give the very first person the opportunity to be the very first two-time winner of official BB seasons. And are you a part of that in elevating her, or are you gonna take her to the end and then get rid of her? I don't
I
know.
mean,
Or you get rid of her right now.
yeah, none of us drafted her, so I don't feel any type of way.
This is true. We weren't quite sure, and still not quite sure who all of our house guests are. Let's get into that in a second. But yeah, in our draft, in the spirit of uncertainty and fairness, we decided to give our question mark house guest to our lovely computer friend from BB26. We named him Oswald. So Oswald officially has Rachel Riley as his solo draft pick. And so we're done, right? We're done. Everything's set. There's 17 house guests, and that's fantastic. And then there's not. And then we blew up his lair, and the mastermind still persists.
Still
Bros like
here.
Bros like Ainsley cannot get rid of him. I wonder if they're cousins. Shows up and says, like, yeah, the red one is back, but I'm the reddest one, and I have information for you.
I'm the reddest one.
There is an accomplice among us. Among us mention.
Us?
And so Rachel sitting pretty on the couch. I'm really sure like she's hearing this information for the very first time too when he says she's not the 17th house guest. What? There's an accomplice among the first 16 house guests. And if they are found out, then they are no longer in the game. What? What? But if people do not discover their identity, then they are officially a house guest and there are 17. So it's funny because you can't even refer to Rachel as the 17th house guest because then she's technically the 16th and there's just a question mark in there. And supposedly this accomplice helped, well, obviously helped the mastermind with things. I don't even know what this means. I don't even know if it's real.
I think we're gonna get some more answers very soon, though.
Yeah, hopefully. We online there's been some speculation. I'm honestly trying not to look too much because I don't want it to skew my idea of who I think the accomplice could be. I
Yeah,
do have a couple names in mind and I don't like it because I like them.
I don't like it because I like. Well,
Um, do we share some ideas? Do you have
well,
like accomplice predictions?
I mean, how would you go about predicting?
The only thing that I have in mind is like question of I they had to have shown this person a lot in the premiere, or at least a decent amount in the premiere to make it interesting, to make it compelling. Like, oh yeah, no, I was thinking this person was legitimately in the game. And like I'm literally talking about it losing all my details. I literally just think it's Morgan. Like I'm literally just completely convinced that I day one was like I really like Morgan. I want to have her on my team. And then her intro package was so. We didn't even like see that much of her. I just think that it's gonna end up being Morgan, and then I'm gonna be so sad. I also some people are theorizing that it has to be a woman because of the ratio of house guests. I don't even think that part's true. I don't know. I don't.
But that's
Eh.
still.
But I'm so worried that it's Morgan because I was rooting for her, and now I think I'm gonna lose a draft pick, and in the
I
same episode that I picked my draft. Anyway, your thoughts?
um I mean there's really no way to know
I know.
until it happens. Do I want Morgan out? Maybe a little more than other house guests.
Hmm.
But I also just think it's a little like, is it unfair? Do they know? Do they want this do they want to be the accomplice and stuff? Like, was it just
Yeah,
given?
I
That's
wonder that too.
questions that need answers.
Yep. I feel like they may have just kind of been in sequester, and they're like, "You, we got plans for you," and like what they can't say no at that point too, or they're just like not in the game because then they already know about the twist. Did they really push buttons? I don't know. Because did the timer go off when the first four were in the house or the first eight? And then could it only be among those first four or eight house guests that pressed that like button that made Julie disappear? I don't really know. I feel like that part's gonna be fake. I think maybe it has the fact that we don't get live feeds for a couple days may have something to do with it, where people would have probably already figured out who it was at this point during the weekend before the Sunday episode. And so maybe we'll figure it out really quick after Sunday. I'm glad, as much as I wish I knew who it was, I'm kind of glad that they didn't tell us, the audience, who it was, so that we're still discussing it. Like there aren't live feeds yet. We just had the premiere episode and we're still blah 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 blah, and we still have so much stuff to discuss because we're kind of speculating. As much as I don't want to speculate, I clearly did because I'm afraid that it's one of my draft picks. But I kind of hope that they don't figure out who it is. I
That's
want
all.
these people to stay.
Give everybody a fair shot, I would say.
You know. Also, maybe they'll do a triple eviction. Maybe
Right
they
off
could
the
bring
bat,
that back.
let's go. Triple eviction.
Week two, triple eviction. Let's just like get them
Yeah.
out of there. It could be funny. Before we look ahead to the next episode, Chris, do you have any other thoughts, feelings about accomplice, mystery house guest, etc.?
No. But closing thoughts on the premiere would probably go super positive. Very happy about the house guests. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all lays out. Um, I really, really like mostly everyone. There's a lot of cool stuff. Even for the people who are less desirable, I would still say that I enjoy most all of their qualities, and nobody's like explicitly like mean or like rude or like
Mm-hmm.
annoying or anything of the sort. Everybody's super cool. Teams, and it looks like it's gonna be a good summer.
Woo!
Woo!
I completely agree. I like the vibes of everybody so far, though I do hope that there's some villains in there. I want to see that happen. But of course, in the next couple of weeks, we only had 90-minute first impressions on TV of all these people. I think, though, there were some complaints that we had of just production and different values and prizes and such. I think we are totally on the right track. I think they learned a lot from last season, especially just meeting what the fans enjoyed, what worked, what didn't work, and especially with the AI Arena coming back in the BB blockbuster. I think they took notes, and I think we're headed in the right direction. And so, what's next in store? We have Sunday night episode at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, another 90-minute episode right after we had the 90-minute premiere. And we also found out that every Wednesday night will also be a 90-minute episode, which means the full first week, hour and a half for all three episodes. I'm looking forward to that because I want more content. I want them to have room to play the comps and also the conversations they have in the bathroom. That's what I'm here for. And what else we're here for is even more content because an hour and a half every Wednesday and then Thursday, Sunday episodes, those are not enough. That is not enough. And that's why we have 2 hours of our show, The Diary Room WMSC on 90.3 WMSC FM Upper Montclair at 4 to 6 p.m. on Sundays, where we recap the week, we look at things ahead, and all just a couple hours before the Sunday night episode, so you can get a nice little package, a recap, a review of things that happened earlier in the week. And we're excited that you're listening, that you're chilling with us. And you could connect with us online. We have an Instagram at thediaryroom.wmsc, where we will also talk about all of your draft picks very soon. We're going to be doing updates on our socials, and we love to get feedback. We want to know what you guys think of the Big Brother episodes, of our episodes. We could get to discussing, so you could connect with us over there. Seems like this is about the end of our episode, Chris.
It does. 90 minutes tomorrow and every Wednesday. It's going to be a good summer. I'm real excited. Are you excited, Mole?
I'm so excited. I haven't stopped talking about this show since last summer.
True.
Got so excited, I had to have a little fit there. Super excited for this season. And now we get ready to watch the Sunday episode.
Yes, we are. Precisely.
I'm falling apart at the end of this episode, Chris. I'm falling apart at the seams. Thank you so much for listening. Listen to us next time.
Literally. 90
Peace out.
For Montclair. This has been the Diary Room.
The Diary Room, the Diary Room, the Diary Room. Bye. Oh my God.